go ahead and get started now. But we'll just ask that Johnny will come and just minister whatever the Lord laid on his heart.
This really is totally out of character for me because I am normally not nervous. I am never at a loss for words. Normally it's would you shut up and come on. Is this too loud? Okay. Most of you know who I am. My name is Johnny, obviously. Little history. This is not my background. Thank God he is not denominational, because I was raised Southern Baptist. Sorry. And just in advance, if I say anything that steps on anybody's toes, or if I say something that I've done that was a little too close to your pain, I'm really sorry. It's not intentional. And I asked Joe in advance, and he said it's okay if I get choked up and can't talk. It happens a lot. Southern Baptist people, the kind that I grew up with, Missouri, Oklahoma, you go to church on Sunday, and by Sunday afternoon, you've forgotten what was said at the pew, and you're out doing what you were doing Saturday night. And Saturday night, country folks party. And a lot of times they hope that God doesn't see them party, but he does. And that's the kind of religious background I was growing up in. I watched my mom and dad do things that most people pray they never hear about, and then they were in church on Sunday morning. So I didn't have a real strict religious background, and when God got a hold of me, he bounced me around. But I've also learned over the last 8 years that sometimes that's what it takes, because we're comfortable where we're at. And we level off on this big plateau, and we're on the mountaintop, and so we think it's time for vacation. The problem is that a lot of times we get on that mountaintop on our vacation and we're resting from the valley that we just came from, and some of us think it's time to retire. I did. And God said retirement's when you get up here. So I still have a lot of work to do. And my wife is Pentecostal. And for a Southern Baptist boy to get a hold of a Pentecostal woman had to be a God thing. Because there's a little scripture in the Bible where Paul was walking through a camp and there was a seer walking behind it. And she's proclaiming God and everything else. And he turns around and rebukes it, and the evil spirit left her. And the Baptists took that totally out of context. And to them, if you speak in tongues, that's of the devil, because Paul rebuked it. And I got a hold of this little Pentecostal girl. She got a hold of me. And she's speaking in tongues and got her hands up in there, and I'm like, there's something in there, it's got to come out. I should have left it in. Because when it came out, I got it. And a lot of people look at me and they go, dude, you ain't right. I go to work with a guy that is Roman Catholic, hardcore Roman Catholic. God wrote the Old Testament and man wrote the New Testament. So the New Testament is fiction. Just so y'all know you're reading fiction. But it's a good book, isn't it? I love the fiction part. The Old Testament is a good history lesson, but I love the fiction part. Because to me, it's not fiction. God's real, and he's in there. And he tells me all the time. I go in on Monday morning, and I'm about this high off the ground. He says, dude, what are you doing? I went to church yesterday. Yeah. Well, that's what I'm doing. I went to church. That's it. Church is not supposed to be fun. I said, really? You're going to the wrong church? Come to mine. I'll give you directions. Better yet, you can look it up on the internet because it's there. And he's afraid to, because he's afraid that some of them might jump off on him. And I truly, truly hope that it jumps off on everybody. When I was called to preach, I swore everybody heard wrong. I was taught how to speak in front of groups when I was in the military. And you do it because you have rank. And you learn that because you have rank, you have power. You have authority over the people below you. Well, I don't have any stripes on my shoulders now. So I have no authority over people, and I'm up here telling people out there what God wants them to hear, and I'm like, I can't do this. And I was told, yes, I can, because the power's in me. It's not on my sleeves, it's in me. So just pretend that all those stripes are on the inside, you'll be fine. So that's what I have to do from time to time when I get up here, like this morning, when I am so nervous that I am already drenched. But it's okay, because God says I can do it. I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me. So I've been doing this about 2 years, and to me, this is the greatest honor in the world. It really is. When Kim got up here this morning, she was speaking in tongues. She was being God's mouthpiece. And I'll bet you if you ask her, that's awesome. That God would choose her to speak through. I feel the same way when I get up here. I feel so humbled and honored that God would use me to speak through me. We're all supposed to be the hands and feet of God, and that's awesome. I love being his hands and feet. But to me, it's just an honor to be the mouthpiece. I'd trade everything else for that. Anyway, when I started praying about it, I got lost twice. And God does that a lot with me. I'll think I got a message and everything else, and I'll get down there, and my computer's not up now, so my notes are all scratched. I'm the only one that can read this. My wife will look at it, she goes, what is it? Never mind, I got it. I know. And I probably won't even follow half of this. I'll sit down and I'll write a message, and I'll get it going, and I'll bet you Pastor Dan can relate to it. Saturday night, you go through it, you get up Sunday morning, and throw it out. Because God's got another plan. But that's okay, because I'll follow God's plan over mine any day. I have messed up so many plans. I've even messed up a couple that God had. But God's plans never get messed up. I mean, look at Jonah. Jonah tried everything he could to mess up God's plan. God won. He's come into town stinking like fish, but God got his message across. Because he will. He don't care what you look like. He don't care what you smell like. If he's got a message and he's going to use you, good luck resisting. Because it don't work. He will get it done one way or another. And if you just go kicking and screaming all the way, that's okay. He'll find somebody else. God's message will not be denied. His word doesn't return void. It doesn't matter how you get there. He's going to do it. I asked him if I could use her testimony a little bit. I just want to reference her. She said that she had done all of these bad things. I was right there with her. 60 to 70% of what she said, I've done it. I was experimenting through everything because nothing was working for me. And I mean, I was the guy I was in the Navy, and I was the guy on our ship that was wearing one of the badges. And at the same time, I'm over here in the corner doing my dope. And I figured out real quick that I better get it straightened out because the boss called me in one day and he says, question for you, if you knew somebody really, really well and you knew that they were doing dope, but you couldn't catch them at it and it was right on the edge when you tested it, what would you do? I said, well, I'd pull them aside and say, look, I know you're doing it and you're going to get caught sooner or later. So you better straighten up because you got to figure out you want the dope or you want the Navy. And he goes, good. Get it straight. No, not just shut up. No, I'm going to try, I know. All you're going to do is make it worse. Get it straight because I'm going to catch you sooner or later. And setting the wrong example with you walking around with the badge on, people know you're done it. Then I got in here and started doing all this, and it's like, God just stumped me with that. He says, if you're going to get up there, you better be doing it right. Old pastor friend of mine said, sometimes you, and he was just talking to me, it was everybody, we're the only Bible that some people will ever read. When they read you, are they reading the whole Bible? Or are they reading your version? That was a real hard pill to swallow. It took a couple of gallons to get that one down. But I figured I better straighten it up if I wanted to do it. And to me, nothing's more important than living for God and doing what he wants. When he got hold of me, everything else was gone. And it says in the Word that once we receive salvation, that old things have passed away. Well, I don't know how you guys receive that word, but to me, when I think of passed away, I think of people. When they've passed away, they're gone. Well, if my past has passed away, it's dead. And God don't remember it, so why should I? So I buried my past. Every once in a while, the devil goes over to a shovel and says, wouldn't you come pick this up? But if you look on the Sea of Forgetfulness, where all our past is, there's a huge sign up there that says no fishing. So don't go fishing in the Sea of Forgetfulness, because God don't like you to remember it anymore neither. Anyway, when I started thinking about today's message, two things come to mind. I just went through probably one of the worst valleys I've ever gone through with my wife. We were just sure we heard God. We both prayed about it. We do that a lot. I'll talk to her. She'll talk to me. We exchange notes. We heard God. We were going to buy a house. And it was a good thing because the duplex we were renting was being sold out from under us. So we had 63 days. We started moving forward. Real estate takes a long time. They want to sell that property, but boy, don't try to get them to release it. Because they want every penny they can squeeze out of you, and then if you got any change left over, they'll take that too. We got clear down there. Our real estate agent and our finance guys are both Christians. So we were talking openly. I'm praying about this. Are you praying about this? Yep, I'm praying. You getting anything? And they were all in awe. I've never seen anything move this fast. It's got to be God. This is going so fast. It's got to be God. We got down to the last. The appraisal came in and looked at it and said it's $32,000 more than it's worth. We're not going to fund it. We talked to the lady. She says, this is worth every penny. We got to come together in the middle or it ain't going to sell. She wasn't budging. It didn't sell. We don't have a house. Okay, let's look and see if we can find some place to rent. There is nothing on the market we could afford. Nothing. We own a 17-foot camp trailer. And just to put it in perspective, our pastor and his lovely wife are living in about a 40-footer. Ours was less than half that. We have 2 dogs and a 15-year-old teenager that's ADHD. 2 months and 1 day to the day we lived in that trailer. And I'm telling you what, it is not big enough. Nothing but the grace of God got us through that. Because neither one of us pulled anybody's hair out. Our daughter still has a pulse. Both of our dogs still have a pulse. We're all alive and well. And we're still praising God and thanking God for our new house. We've had people walk in there with us. We just moved Friday and Saturday, and they walk in and they look around and they go, oh, God, where are you going to put everything? This is so little. My wife calls our kitchen a kitchenette because it's just so little. But you can walk side by side in that kitchen and not touch each other. You can do that in our old kitchen. So we have an awesome thing that we're coming from. And God will use any circumstance and situation. Whether the enemy throws it at you or God allows it to happen, He'll use it. And like I was saying before, God thumped me to get my attention. Sometimes He has to do that. Sometimes He has to thump really hard. Sometimes He has to pull the rug out from underneath and put you flat on your back. Nothing personal, joke. But sometimes He'll even use a heart attack to get your attention. If He wants your attention, He'll get it. He made the earth in 6 days. He can do whatever He wants. There's nothing going to stop God. We might delay it. We might slow Him down a little bit, but nothing's going to stop it. If He wants it, it'll happen. We prayed for over a month continuously, every day, all day. Well, when the weather's nice, 17 foot's okay, because all you're doing is eating and sleeping in there. You got outside. But then when the weather starts going south and it rains, which it does in Oregon, there's nowhere to go. There's nothing to do. Our daughter wanted to watch a movie, she's got to be on our bed. Well, Papa needs to go to bed because he's got to get up and work. The movie's got to go off. She's back in this little corner, and the internet stinks in there. and an internet to a teenager, you might as well pull the life support off of them. Because it is not happening without the internet. And she can't even get Wi-Fi on her phone. She's gonna die by tomorrow. The alarm will go off and she'll be dead. I'm not joking now, this went on for 2 months. Halfway through this, we thought we had a house. God pulled that one out. When you stand up here or even there and you tell your neighbors, God's got a plan, I'm trusting God, just believing in God, I'm praying, them words better not be hollow. Because sooner or later, God will say, really? Hood up or shut up? We had to hood up because we wasn't going to shut up. We had family and friends looking at us. My daughter thought that I needed to be committed because there was a pillow at Johnson Union. She swore it had my name on it. I was loonier than a fruitcake because I was still smiling. Oh, honey, it's okay. God's got a plan. Really? When's he going to show you? Well, I don't know. Is he saying anything? No. Nothing? Then what are you going to do? We're going to keep living in our trailer. We're going to keep praying and trusting God. Because that's what we have to do. This is the time the enemy is going to push us and test us. We have to stay strong in our faith. There's no choice. I have got everything invested in God. It's all or nothing. If I pull the plug now, I'm gone. I'm done. It's all or nothing. So we got to do it. Halfway through this, we went to register our kid in school. We found out that by the state, we are homeless. Talk about a slap in the face. That's like subhuman. People don't look at homeless people. You're homeless. You don't have a home. Yeah, we do. We got an awesome home. We still got. You don't have a home. You're homeless. Do you need financial aid? Do you need food stamps? We're like, we got God. We're not homeless. It's okay. They don't listen. You can't register your kid in school because you're homeless. Tell me how that one works. So because my daughter goes to the same school and she takes care of my kid part-time, she volunteered to be block mom. Use her address as block mom, kids registered at school. God came up with a way around it. Now we just got kicked in the teeth. Because now we're going to move my business too. Well, I can't drive because I've messed up my back. And now my regional manager looks at me and says, do we really need your position? Do we really need your job? Are you actually useful to us? I don't have a home. I'm living in a camp trailer. My daughter thinks she's going to die without the internet. The state tells me I'm homeless. And I might lose my job. I'm praying to God every day and I'm getting nothing. Now, a lot of people swear you can't hear God. I can hear God. Sometimes I've even heard him whisper out loud in my ear, an audible voice. I don't know how many of you have. I am not lunatic, I promise you. I have even smelled God. I felt his presence walk by and there was such a sweet aroma. I know it's God. I've had God put his hand on my shoulder and walk beside me. But that's all another message. When you're praying and you can hear God and you know he's answering your prayer, and then you ask God, how much longer are we going to be here? And everything goes totally quiet. That makes you question yourself. Am I really hearing God? Everybody around me says I'm being too picky about what I want in the house. Everybody around me says I need to change this. God took me out of this. This is what he's going to put me into. We had real estate people. We had rental agencies, everything. People are telling me, I lost my mind. If you really trust God, where is he? And then I'm praying and ask him how much longer. I don't hear nothing. Everything else, I'm starting to go downhill now. So I get up one morning and I'm having a bad night and I'm having a bad morning and I just lost it. Second time in my life I ever hollered to God. First time was when my mom passed away. Why? She was getting better. Why take her now? We're on a one-on-one relationship. I love my mama. We're closer than we've ever been. No. I was mad. God told me, he said, aren't you being selfish? How was I being selfish? She wanted to be with me. Oops. Sorry. How can you deny somebody that? I told my wife, if I ever get to that point, give me a kiss, honey, because I'm out of here and I'll save you a seat. I'm not staying here if I got a choice. Here or heaven, see ya. I was being selfish. When I thought I was going to lose everything, I hollered to God again. But he's a very loving and forgiving God. And he don't take it personal. On the way to work, first thing I did was I cranked up my K-Love music. Love my K-Love radio. I could worship all the way to work. You might have seen me, that big black truck going down the road about 6 months ago. I was the guy with his hands up on there and nobody was driving. I've had people drive by me and honk there. What? I'm worshiping God. Oh, drive, yes. I'll worship one-handed. I'm not joking. I've had them call. There's 800 numbers on the back of our truck. They called my boss and told him that there was a lunatic driving his truck. God is my witness. I got back to the shop and he says, are you the lunatic that was on I-5? I said, I don't know. Yeah, you were kind of weaving over the fog line there. Yeah, that's me. What's going on? There's a good song on the radio. I couldn't help it. He's agnostic. He didn't get it. Okay. I still pray for him. I'm worshiping, going to work, and loud and clear. I'm mad at God. I hear shh, and I pat my shoulder. How many of you have shushed a kid? It's soothing to them, right? You get them out next to you and you pat them and shh, right? That's what God has done to me. It's okay. I got this. When God tells you he's got this, you ain't got to worry. I lost 10 pounds about that fast. And it was all stress. I come home and look at my wife. We got a house. She says, what? We got a house. Where? I said, I ain't got a clue. Well, when? I ain't got a clue. She said, you talked to God, didn't you? Yep. It's okay. We were still 3 weeks out. But I didn't care. I had a house. Well, when? I don't know. We did that for 3 weeks. And I'm not kidding. People thought we were nuts because we were happy. Why are you happy? Because we got a house. Really? Where is it? I don't know. God has a plan for everybody. And I have no doubt that that travel trailer experience was part of that plan. Because if you look, I even wrote down the scriptures. If you look in Isaiah 44, it says, he knew us in our mother's womb, right? That means before we were born, he knew us. And if you look over in Hebrews chapter 9, it says, it's appointed unto man once to die, right? That covers pre-birth till death. God's got a plan for everybody. Everybody. We can follow his plan, or we can go our own way. But we're still in that plan. My sister died earlier than everybody in our family thought she should have. Except God. God knew that was her day. Everybody said it was too soon. She still had a lot of life on. My mom. Doctor said she probably had about 20 years. She went in for surgery and never recovered surgery. That was her day. No, she was going to. No, that was her day. If it wasn't her day, she'd still be here. God has that day destined. No matter what you're doing. That trailer was part of God's plan. I didn't have a clue what God's plan was. And I've had God look at me and tell me, right there is the finish line. Really? I swear that's the finish line over there, and I can see it from here. Okay, you want to go that way, you go ahead. I'm telling you, the finish line. This is the finish line over here. I don't take off, and it looks great until you get about 10 feet away from God, and then you're in the blackberries. And there is nowhere to go in blackberries without getting poked. People out here in Oregon are crazy because they like them. People from Missouri don't like blackberries. That's all right. And you turn around, it's like, I'm in the blackberries. Where's the finish line now? God's standing right beside you in the blackberries. Because he'll never leave you nor forsake you. Right? I'm in that little camp trailer, wondering if I got a job, wondering if I got a... God's right there in that camp trailer with me. He was in the lion's den.
Yeah.
Daniel wasn't by himself. Daniel was praising and worshiping. He was in the jail with Paul and Silas. They're chained up. They weren't just in jail, they were chained up. And they're singing praise songs. How many people thought they'd lost their mind? Everybody listening? 4 people was in the fire, 3 went in, but there was 4 in there, right? What's the difference? I didn't know, but I was going to find out. God's throwing all these things at me. Okay, what's the difference? Where was my faith? Where was I? I heard Joe's little testimony. You're not where you're supposed to be with me. Ouch. You're not as close as you used to be with me. Ouch. How many times are you going to thump me, guys, until you get it through your head? You're not doing your devotions in the morning when you get up? I said, Lord, I got 5 feet here to get up and get dressed, cook breakfast, get my clothes on, go to work. He says, how many feet do you need? Okay. I get it. Are you sure? Yep. I get it. We started reading our devotions in the morning. We started reading our Bible at night. 2 days. 2 days. We got a phone call. We got a 2-bedroom duplex out here with a fireplace and garage. You want it? Are you kidding? I'm already packing. Well, it's not going to be ready for a week. I said, all right, I'm packing. We're ready. People walk in that house, and I'm not kidding. They look at it and they go, this is livable? Are you kidding? This is a mansion. I could fix it. It has bright yellow linoleum in the bathroom. You turn the light on, it will blind you. I promise you. You put sunglasses on and look at the linoleum. I don't care. It's heaven. We walk into our kitchenette. There is not room in our kitchen for our refrigerator. It goes outside in the dining room. Praise God. I have a refrigerator that'll hold a gallon of milk and 2 sodas side by side. It's awesome. The size of your house is relative. If you move out of 17 feet, 40 foot is a mansion. But I guarantee you, if they move out of 40 feet into a house, that's a mansion. Because they're going to be able to walk more than 30 feet in one direction without hitting something. Praise God. The little things have to matter. Because if the little things don't matter, you lose perspective on the big things. God took us through that ugly valley to move us. Every time that we have gone through a situation where it was ugly, God was moving us. I have no idea where we're going, and I don't care. God's right there in front of me. I'm good. Life is awesome. I love this church with all my heart. I feel at home in this church. This morning was obvious the power of God is in this church. If you can't feel it, maybe you ought to check and see if you have a pulse. I do. My name wasn't in the obits today. It's going to be a great day. I'm still looking at the green side of the grass. It's awesome. Life is a party, and I'm going to live it to the extreme. But we all have to do our part. God doesn't want us to get to that plateau and level off or think we're ready for retirement. Our retirement's in heaven. The scripture says this world is not our home.
Amen.
We're just passing through, right? But we have a task to do while we're passing through. And I'm like Joe. I got a new leash on life. God kicked me in the pants, woke me up, built that fire, fanned it a little bit. I'm ready to go. So here we go again. We're going to tell everybody we know about God the way we were before. Just because I was in a valley, I should not have forgotten about God. I didn't. We were still doing our prayers, and a couple times a week we were reading our Bible. But it wasn't daily. And it wasn't intense like it was before. Because I don't want to say we cooled off, but we had just leveled off. Because we still love God. We were still on fire for God. We were still telling people about God. We're still going to church. We're still loving Him, worshiping. Got the tears rolling, the eyes going, arms up in there. We're still loving God. But it wasn't as intense as it needed to be. Because for the next season in our life, which is coming up, effective immediately, we needed to be the next level. So God's moving us. I'm praying that He keeps us here, because I love this church. We got an awesome pastor. We got an awesome pastor's wife. We got an awesome assistant pastor and her wife, his wife. You guys are great. I mean, there's an anointing when you get behind the piano. I was watching you last Sunday. You were in your own little zone, and you were rocking. And then there was prayer going on over here, and you needed to be there. And you never missed a note, because I told my wife, I said, watch this, this is going to be cool. You never missed a note. Your daughter slid right in on one side, you slid out on the other side, and the same song kept going. That's God. That's because the love of God. When these people get up here and play, they love God and they're showing off. They're not showing off then, they're showing off their love of God. He gets up here and preaches in the mornings. He's not showing off. He could care less if you look at him. He's kind of cool to look at though. But he's worshiping God. He's letting God speak through him. Joe don't like to speak in front of crowds, but when he gets up here, he's doing it because God. If God's the motivator, we can do anything. We can go through anything. You can live in a 17-foot camp trailer for 2 months. I proved it. But that's behind me now. That's a learning experience. It's time to keep going forward. And I'm excited about what God's going to do, even though I haven't got a clue what it is. I hope it's here. I pray that it's here. It's the reason I think we were brought here. Because this feels like family. When you walk in the door here, you feel home. You can just walk in, kick your shoes off. This is good. This is home. But it's because God was here first. So when you come in, you automatically feel God. And the world's out there. This is a safe haven. God's in here. Don't get me wrong. The enemy comes in here every once in a while, but he ain't going to stay long. He's outnumbered. There are some churches that I've been to, however, we won't go into that. Because when you walk in there, it's kind of cold and smells a little musty in the corners, and you need to light a fire in there, but you light a fire and somebody blow it out. They don't want that fire in there. They're comfortable where they're at. And that's the wrong Bible for other people to read. I hope and I pray that I am the right Bible. I hope and I pray that when people look at me and they hear me, that they're getting the King James Version. Unedited. But I don't do these and nows. I'm from Missouri. We don't do these and nows. So they just have to put up with that. God has a plan for all of us. I encourage everybody to ask Him what the plan is. But the hardest thing to do is if I had to put them on a scale of 5, it's probably number 3. The worst scripture I hate to hear. And I love the Lord. I love reading But when God says, be still and know that I'm God, I don't want to hear that one. I want to know where I'm going. Let's do this. Shh. Okay. But how long? Shh. But Lord, I need to shh. Okay. Because we live in a microwave world. Seriously. I asked the City of Eugene's people, can anybody guess how long a red light is in Eugene? Some are 12. The longest ones are 18 seconds. How many of you have sat at that red light and counted it? It's 2 hours. I promise you. If you are late for work, that light is 2 hours long. If you are going to meet somebody, that light is, and there's no way that that is 18 seconds. I promise. But you call them and ask them. If it's not on the timer, if it's not on the little trip thing, if it's on the timer, the longest one in Eugene is 18 seconds. That is an eternity. We live in a microwave society. Most people that have the internet now, this will get you, it takes 1.9 seconds to load up the internet from a cold screen. No, it ain't. You hit there, you keep hitting enter and enter and enter. Just change the page. Why is it so slow? It's 1.9 seconds. I'm not joking. It is 1.9 seconds. Unless you got dial-up or something, the internet is 1.9 seconds. A lot more faster than that. That's where you get messed up. You get used to that fast one. That 1.9 seconds is an eternity. The bad part about it is we look at God the same way. We do our devotions, we do our prayer. Now let me have a sleep. Where's God? You didn't wait for Him to answer you. If you want to know God's will, you got to listen. Because He's not on the microwave, sorry. He invented time for us. Before He decided to make us, there was no day and night. That was one of the things He did the first 6 days. There was no time. God's timeless. He's ageless. He has no boundaries. But He respects the boundaries of time. If that's in the past, He's not going to dig it up. He's present and future. And our future is already in His past, which took me a little bit to wrap my brain around. If He's already been to my future and knows the end, and He's here too, how does that work? Because He's God. And you have to accept that on faith. So if you want to hear God, you have to do like we did. Slow down and shut up. God don't work too good with me because I love to talk. But God will get your attention. It's easier if you just do it the easy way. I don't think Joe would want to go through another double heart attack. I would not want to go through another 17-foot camp trailer experience. God got my attention. Slow down and listen to me. I got something really important to tell you. And when He said it that way, that was like turning on a floodlight. That was like going right over here. The God of the universe has something important to tell me. You got all day, boss. I will shut up and listen. If you're willing to talk to me, just your average guy walking down the street, there's 6 billion people out there. You want to talk to me? I'm going to shut up and listen. Well, it might take a half hour. I'll be late for work. I got all day. That red light down there is going to take 2 hours anyway. You can talk all day long. I'm good. Because I needed that experience for God to get my attention. But where did He get it? But I'm not going to be so quick to get away from Him again either. Because I remember that lesson. God will use any situation to get your attention. He wants to talk to everybody. It says His sheep know His voice. I've had people walk up to me and go, "You hear God?" "Yeah, ain't you?" "No." "Do you believe in God?" "Yeah." "Do you follow God?" "Yeah." "See the good shepherd?" "Yeah." "Then you're one of the sheep, right?" "His sheep know His voice." you got the frequency turned in right because he's talking. You got to listen. And you got to be willing to take a break and listen. Whatever he's got to tell you, I promise, is important. I promise you it's important. And it is well worth the time you're going to spend listening to him. It is more important than the internet, even if you're 15. But you can't convince a 15-year-old of that. It's more important than anything. And I promise God will not make you late for work if he wants to talk to you. Because he doesn't want you to get in trouble. That's not what he's about. Old pastor friend of mine told me, I'm going to close with this one. I said, how do I know if I'm hearing God? How do I know it's not me? He said, that's the easy one. Well, enlighten me, please. Ask Satan when he's trying to trick you into doing something. Ask him if it's really God. The Bible says test the spirits, right? When you hear that little voice in your head says you need to be doing this, is that really you, Lord? The second time you do it, he's going to scream and yell like, yes, it's really me. Get over there and do it. That ain't God. That ain't God. He told us. God's not in the hurricane. God's not in the typhoon. God's that small voice. If it's screaming and yelling at you, get over there and do it. That ain't God. If you ask 6 or 7 times again, yeah, that's really me. That's God. Because God don't care how many times you ask him. He'd rather you'd ask him 20 times and get it right than to assume it's him and get it wrong. He will never get tired of you asking, Lord, is that really you? You ask Satan a couple of times and you get chewed out. How many times you going to ask me? Because he has no patience. And God don't scream and yell because God is patience. God is love. Everything he does is in love. And the second way you know it's God, I didn't bring mine up here, but if you go get your little Bible, hopefully yours is not like my father's was and covered in dust, and you know where it is. My father had 19 commentaries on how to disciple the Bible. Every single one of them covered in dust. They didn't do no good. Where was the Bible? It was at the bottom of the stack. You got to dig through all of them other ones to get to it. Go get it and read. The Bible will back up everything God tells you. Everything, without fail. If it's in there, it's God. Because that says that's God's living word. Well, it says that Christ was the Word made man, right? There it is. Right in front of us. We got to take time to read it. We got to take time to pray. 2 greatest things you can ever do. Active prayer life and an active reading life. And then the third thing I just learned the hard way. You got to take time to listen. And I don't know about you, but it's really hard to listen when your mouth's in gear. I got a lot of experience. I used to be one of those guys that I wouldn't listen. I would wait to speak. There's a big difference. Some people don't want you to speak. They just want to talk. Well, are you listening or are you just waiting to speak? God trying to talk to you. Well, yeah, but. God don't want to hear yeah, but. God wants to hear what? You tell me, I'll do it. You lead me, I'll go. That's what God wants. He will never lead you somewhere where he ain't going to go with you. Ever. And he doesn't call the equipped. He equips the called. If he calls you, he will equip you to go. If he tells you he wants you to do something, he was just talking about that with Moses last Sunday. Well, Moses was Yabbit. Moses did 15 Yabbits, and God had an answer for him every time he threw one out there. Well, Yabbit. God's got an answer, or he wouldn't call you in the first place. You will never hear God say, didn't see that coming. Because he knows in advance what he's going to do. We're the ones that can't see it. He can. But that's because we don't look through his eyes. 3 things I learned. Pray, read, listen. If we can do them 3, there's nothing we can't do. We can walk through a fiery furnace. We can stick our head in a lion's mouth. We can go down the belly of a whale and come out singing and praising. It's proven. It's in the history book. It works. That's the only 3 things they did that we don't do. And they walked out victorious. If we do it, we'll be victorious too. Promise. God says so. He's over 6,000. How many years old is God now? He's never lied once. Not once. That's a pretty good track record. He's never made a mistake. That's the leader I want. It's all yours, man. Thank you.